Hello, my name is Roy from Macomb St.Clair Michigan Works Agency, and for the next few minutes, my coworkers and I will be walking you through the TAA program and what it entails. So what is TAA?
Trade Adjustment Assistance, TAA, is a federal entitlement program that assists U.S. workers who have lost or may lose their jobs as a result of foreign trade.
The program goal is to provide eligible workers with opportunities to obtain the skills, credentials, resources, and support necessary to become reemployed as quickly as possible.
Workers eligible for TAA benefits are determined by certification from the United States Department of Labor, USDOL.
The certification process is initiated by a petition filed by a group of 3 or more workers,
The worker's employer,
Union officials representing the workers,
or state workforce agencies, including Michigan Works.
if an individual is determined eligible as a member of a worker group certified by the USDOL.
the worker may be eligible for the following benefits and services:
career and employment counseling,
Job search assistant, classroom training,
On-the-job training,
job search allowance,
relocation allowance,
trade readjustment allowance, TRA, income support,
reemployment trade adjustment assistance, or RTAA, wage subsidy for workers age 50 or older. Now let's get into it.
Hi, I'm Mike from the Clinton Township office. The Trade Adjustment Assistance Reauthorization Act, TAARA, or Trade Adjustment Assistance, or even shorter, the TAA program, provides assistance to workers who lose their job as a result of foreign trade. This can happen in a number of different ways, but basically it has to do with trade that occurs outside of the U.S. The intent of this program is to help laid-off workers return to work as quickly as possible at a comparable wage. To be eligible for the TAA program, one must show that they were laid off from a TAA certified company in particular location within a particular date range. So the way this works is somebody applies for TAA certification for a company because layoffs are happening, or they know layoffs are going to happen due to foreign trade. The government does an investigation and then determines whether or not this company, in fact, is losing jobs. People are losing their job due to foreign trade. When the company makes this determination, that's called the certification date. What they do is they actually go back in time to determine when did people start losing their jobs due to this foreign trade. When they determine that date, that's the impact date. Then what they do is they go forward in time and they want to come up with what they call an expiration date. The expiration date is the date in which they want to ensure anybody else who gets laid off from this location and this company that has been impacted by foreign trade also gets included in being eligible for the TAA program and the benefits. So anybody laid off on or after the impact date all the way up to the expiration date is going to be eligible for the TAA benefits or program. They just have to provide proof of this. Sometimes a company will provide us with a list of people who've been laid off. Sometimes the state of Michigan will give this to us. But in either case, we need some documented proof that you were laid off from that company during this date range. There are 7 major components to the TAA program. I'm going to touch base on them, but we're going to go into more detail later. Number 1, case management services. This is where somebody can actually work with a TAA career planner who can assist them with their job search and moving forward with trying to get reemployed. This is through Michigan Works, and this is a lifelong benefit. Number 2, training. Once again, this is where you work with a TAA career planner at Michigan Works. There's a lot to understand about training, and they can help you with training. Number 3, job search allowance. This is where Michigan Works can assist you with paying for job search expenses. Number 4, relocation allowance. This is where you may be eligible for Michigan Works to assist you with paying for relocation expenses. So these first 4 are determined by Michigan Works. Number 5, Reemployment Trade Adjustment Assistance, RTAA. This is where the Unemployment Insurance Agency can assist with actually subsidizing your wages after you get reemployed. Number 6, Trade Readjustment Allowance, TRA. This is where the Unemployment Insurance Agency can assist you with additional weekly unemployment benefits while you're in training. And number 7, Health Coverage Tax Credit. This is where the IRS can assist you with paying for a portion of your health insurance premiums while you're unemployed. So the last 3 have to do with your money, and they are determined by either the Unemployment Insurance Agency or the IRS. So in more detail regarding the first major component or benefit, you have case management services. This is where you're going to be working with a Michigan Works career planner, and they can assist you in a variety of ways. One way is comprehensive assessments. These assessments may help you figure out, what am I going to do with my life? What does my future look like? So the assessments can actually help you, because it's not easy to try and figure out what direction to go after you've been laid off. Another service is individual service strategy. This is where they can assist you with a personalized strategy to get reemployed. They can also provide training information. There's a lot of information to learn about schools, colleges, universities, trade schools, all kinds of information that you may need help with. Another area is financial aid information. You're going to want to get all the financial aid that you can possibly get while you're unemployed. Another one is employability skills or job search skills. It's not easy to try and find a new job, there's a lot to know about it. So the career planner can assist you with that. Another area is career counseling or planning or career coaching. It's not easy when you're unemployed, so the TAA career planner can assist you with that whole process. Another area is labor market information, or LMI. This is really important because you need to know what types of jobs are in demand and which types of jobs are not in demand. You need to know what area they're in demand. What does it take to get that job? How much would you make at that particular job? So this labor market information can also be provided. And the last area is supportive services information. So the career planner can actually assist you with possible supportive services that you may be eligible for while you're unemployed. Over to you, Dana.
Thanks, Mike. I'm Dana from the Mount Clemens office. Let's talk about training. There are 2 types of training, employer-based and classroom. Please note, eligibility is determined by Michigan Works and must be approved before enrolling in training. So please don't go start training without talking to your career planner first. There are 3 types of employer-based training: on-the-job training, customized training, and registered apprenticeships. With on-the-job training, the worker is hired by the employer. So you work directly for the employer pays you directly. The worker requires specified skills to be proficient in the new occupation. So when the business account manager writes the contract, they put in place, here are the skills that this person's going to be learning on their on-the-job training. The plan is in place to ensure the worker will become proficient. So it's just to make sure that it's going to give you the skills you need to be good at that job. And the TAA program funds 50% of the wages for up to 104 weeks. But again, we have to make sure we can justify that. Customized training is designed to meet the special requirements for an employer or group of employers. It's conducted by a separate vendor, but with a commitment by the employer or group of employers to employ an individual upon successful completion of the training. This can include on-site training provided by the employer if identified in the training contract. TAA program funds 50% of training for up to 130 weeks. Registered apprenticeships. This is a combination of on-the-job learning and related technical instruction. The workers employed at the start of their apprenticeship covers classroom instruction, tools, uniforms, equipment, books. Funds can be utilized until participant reaches suitable employment or the deadline of training. The TAA program funds 100% of training related technical instruction for up to 130 weeks. And then classroom training. Classroom training covers college or vocational courses up to 130 weeks. The TAA program covers tuition and fees, books, supplies, equipment, And as far as equipment goes, it must be deemed highly encouraged, imperative, or otherwise without the purchase of necessary materials would hinder the success of the participants. Now, remedial training can also be approved alone or as part of classroom training. So, for example, if you never completed high school and you need your GED, we can provide that with this program. Prerequisite training is approvable if required for classroom training program. So if you want to be a nurse and you have those prerequisites you have to take, it's covered with this program. To qualify for TRA, that's your money part from UIA, training must be full-time as defined by the institution. Part-time training can be approved, but no TRA is allowed. Now for more info, let's go over to Amy.
Thanks, Dana. My name is Amy and I work out of the Warren office. During the time you are in approved TAA training, your Michigan Works Career Planner will be required to monitor your progress. This is done by having the school complete a benchmark report every 60 days. On these benchmark reports, we are monitoring two specific things. Are you maintaining satisfactory grades? And are you on track to graduate in your specified time frame? It is imperative that you turn in these benchmarks every 60 days. If you do not turn them in, you can lose your Michigan Works sponsorship. There are 6 different criteria that must be met for you to use your TAA training benefit. Your Michigan Works Career Planner will verify that these criteria have been met prior to your starting training. To assist in that process, you should be keeping a job search log if you are not working. In order to receive additional payment from unemployment or your TRA benefits, you must be enrolled in training by 26 weeks from your date of layoff or 26 weeks from the date the company became TAA certified, whichever is later. If you are not ready to enroll in training by one of those dates, you may be able to get a waiver of training from your career planner. However, there are conditions that must be met in order to get the waiver. You must get the waiver prior to your date to be in training. You must meet one of the 3 waiver reasons, which are health reasons, the training enrollment is unavailable, say maybe you want to start school but the next semester doesn't start until fall, or there are no training funds available. If you are given a waiver, you must check in with your Michigan Works Career Planner on at least a monthly basis to provide an update of what you are doing to get enrolled in school. If you do not stay in contact and make progress toward getting into training, your waiver can be revoked and you can lose your TRA benefits. There are 2 important details to remember about your TAA training benefit. 1, it is a lifetime benefit. Maybe you don't want to go to training right now. If you ever want to use this benefit in the future, you contact your TAA career planner and they will verify that you meet the criteria to attend school and they will help you get enrolled in a program. And 2, your benefit is good for 1 certification once in a lifetime. So this means you can attend training and earn 1 certificate, degree, or diploma, etc. So you may want to think very carefully about how you want to use your benefit. Now we're going to talk about job search allowances. And for the job search allowance, if you cannot find employment in your local commuting area, which is 5 miles from your home, you may be able to use this job search allowance. It can be used to fund your attendance at job interviews outside the 5-mile radius. In order to utilize your benefit, you want to start keeping a job search log to show that you've searched within the 5-mile radius. You do have to have a scheduled interview or appointment. You must apply for the benefit with your Michigan Works TAA career planner prior to attending the interview or appointment. And this benefit is good for 365 days after layoff or certification, or 182 days after completing training. And if you utilize the benefit, we reimburse 90% of allowable costs up to $1,250, so you can use the benefit over and over again until you hit the $1,250 total. For instance, if you had a job interview in Kalamazoo and you drove there and you had lunch and then you came back, we could reimburse for gas and your lunch, and then you could use it again another time because that would not have equaled up to $1,250. For this benefit, Michigan Works determines eligibility and makes the payments. The program also offers relocation allowances, and this allows you to relocate for suitable employment within the United States. In order to use the relocation allowance, you must have a valid offer of suitable work outside the 5-mile radius from your current home. You must apply with your Michigan Works career planner and be pre-approved prior to your move. The time limit on this benefit is 425 days from the date of layoff or certification, or 182 days after completing training. This benefit offers reimbursement of up to 90% of reasonable and necessary expenses to move you, your family, and your household items. And you can also qualify for an additional lump sum of $1,250 to assist you with the move. And again, Michigan Works determines eligibility and makes the payments for this benefit. Now we're going to talk about the Health Coverage Tax Credit, or HCTC. HCTC covers 72.5% of the premium amount paid by eligible individuals for qualified health insurance coverage. In order to utilize this benefit, you have to be TRA or RTAA eligible each month that you use the benefit. Qualified insurance includes COBRA, a spouse's plan for which his or her employer pays less than 50% of the cost, or a non-group health insurance plan. Let's send it back over to Roy.
Thank you, Amy. I'm going to talk more about some of the benefits of the TRA program. The first one I'd like to cover is Reemployment Trade Adjustment Assistance, or RTAA. And as you can see as you're following through with us, there's a lot of acronyms for this, but it's good to go through this presentation once or twice to get a grasp of it, because there's some great benefits with it. Let's pick it back up with RTAA. RTAA is a wage subsidy to help bridge the salary gap between old wage and your new wage of new employment. Individuals must be at least 50 years old and within the eligibility period to qualify. The new job must pay less than the old job, and that's $50,000 a year, not including overtime. Cool. So again, let's be a little bit more specific. Benefits of RTAA. The benefit is half the difference between your old wage and your new wage. As an example, let's say on your TAA company that you were laid off from, you were making $20 per hour. You take a new job that pays $10 an hour. Well, $20 an hour, former job, minus $10 an hour for your current job is $10 an hour's difference. The RTA program, if you're eligible, will pay half the difference. So the difference is $10. If we pay half, that puts you now from $10 an hour to $15 an hour for every hour you work. There is a cap of 2 years or $10,000, whichever comes first. If you do receive TRA benefits, those benefits will be subtracted from the RTAA 2-year $10,000 maximum. Great benefit of this is if you're working at least 20 hours per week, the TAA training is allowable in conjunction with RTAA. So you can get your TAA training, work, and also get the subsidy of RTAA if you qualify for that. However, once an RTAA payment is issued, future eligibility for TRA payments are forfeited. Another great benefit, you will remain eligible for HCTC, which is your health coverage tax credit, while receiving RTAA. And again, HCTC is a premium that gets mailed to you for your health care coverage. The federal government will pay 72.5% of your health care while you remain eligible for RTAA or collecting TRA or state of Michigan unemployment. And eligibility begins the first full week of reemployment or the first week after exhaust unemployment. This applies if you're in TAA approved training. If you're in TAA approved training, you'll have a combination between state of Michigan unemployment and the next segment called basic TRA, which is federal unemployment. Combination of the both will be up to 52 weeks as long as you're in school. If you're in a training program that's approved and you pass the 52 weeks, you can get an additional 65 weeks of TRA to get you through school. If you go through all 65 weeks of that, there's a third component called completion TRA. And at completion TRA, you can get another 13 weeks of TRA to get you through getting your certificate, degree, diploma, or license. But if we walk this back a little bit, if you are not in school through TA approved training before your basic TRA window exhausts, you are not eligible for the additional TRA or completion TRA. So if you're interested in training, you do want to contact your TAA case manager as quickly as possible. However, the training is a lifetime. So if you don't take advantage of this, and a year, 2, 10 years later, you decide to come to a service center anywhere in the United States, you're going to let them know you're TAA certified, there'll be a record for that, and you can get your lifetime training. You just won't get the TRA or extension of unemployment. So let's talk a little bit more about Trade Readjustment Allowance, or TRA. Again, 3 components of that. Basic TRA is usually paid at the same rate as unemployment. It's paid after your unemployment is exhausted, but to earn your basic TRA, you must be in TAA training, or you can have a waiver issued by the training deadline to qualify. And the training deadline is 26 weeks from your layoff date or TAA certification date of your company, whatever date is later, to be in training, or we'll issue a waiver if you're making good effort to be in school. Again, additional TRA can be in another 65 weeks if you need that to get through school. But if we walk this through and you only need 40 additional weeks to get through to complete your degree, diploma, license, or certificate, then your TRA will stop when you graduate. And finally, there is that completion TRA I did mention a few minutes ago, and that can be up for another 13 weeks if you exhaust your basic TRA, your additional TRA. You might be eligible for completion TRA. Another great benefit of TRA. When you have UI claims and TRA, you have an election of either TRA or UI. While you're on TRA, MIDAS, or the Michigan Integrated Data System, that's the state of Michigan's unemployment system, checks for your wages. If your last benefit year has ended and there are enough wages for a new UI claim, you will receive a letter from unemployment or TRA. A tip here is that you want to create a MISHWAM account so you can see the correspondence from either unemployment or TRA as soon as you're in the system. This will save you time waiting on the mail. Another great benefit of this is, if the potential new claim has a lower weekly benefit amount, or WBA, than your TRA weekly benefit amount, or WBA, you can choose the new UI claim, or you can continue and stay on TRA. Even if you haven't worked, you must still file a new UI claim when you're going from one part of TRA to the next. Another great component of TRA is earnings disregard. Let's talk about that for a second. If you're on TRA and you're in full-time training that is approved through our program, any earnings up to your TRA weekly benefit allowance are ignored. So participants must still report their earnings when certifying for TRA. So let's talk about it. If you're on TRA and your weekly benefit amount is $300, let's say you're working and you made $320. TRA only uses the difference from the $320 to the $300, which is a difference of $20, to use to calculate to reduce payment for that week. So instead of getting your normal TRA of $300, you'd get $280. But if you made $320 with work, if we add those two together, that's $600 a week. That is a significant difference from state of Michigan unemployment. State of Michigan unemployment max is $365, and if you made $300, you would subtract the $365 minus $300. You would only get for that week $65. So you can see the benefits of the TRA program. Unemployment Insurance Agency, or TRA, can both be contacted at the following phone number, 866-500-0017. If you're applying for unemployment, that's the number to call. If you're already on unemployment and transitioning to TRA, or already on TRA and you want to talk to a TRA rep, then what you need to do is you press 1 at the first prompt, press 1 at the second prompt, and finally press 3 at the third prompt. If, for any reason, you want to fax any documentation to unemployment, the number is 517-636-0427. If for any reason you're faxing something to the TRA unit, you want to put an asterisk, and on the top right corner, please put TRA unit. Again, both these numbers can be used to inquire about TRA, RTAA, healthcare tax coverage, and any other component with monies for the TAA program. I want to thank you for viewing the St. Clair Employment Training Agency's TAA presentation. Please contact a TAA case manager to see if you qualify for TAA and to schedule the next step, which is a TAA case management session to start the eligibility process. That concludes our presentation on the TAA program. We look forward to working with you.